As everyone knows, Lloyd is Anya's favorite father. But in a dazed moment, she witnessed a heartbreaking scene, her father's cold body trapped under the rubble, utterly powerless to save him. It turned out to be a vision from the dog beside her, Bond, a dog who can see the future. Earlier that day, Anya was cornered by villains in a back alley. Just as they were about to seize her, Ye kicked the tall man away, sending him flying. Overwhelmed with relief, Anya burst into tears. However, one of the thugs ordered his dog to attack Ye and tear out her throat. Little did he know, even a well-trained military dog would turn and flee the moment it sensed the murderous intent radiating from this woman. Realizing the situation was hopeless and that the dog wouldn't obey, the man furiously kicked Bond aside and tried to escape. Not wanting to leave Anya alone, Ye chose not to pursue him. Instead, she checked on the man she had kicked away while Anya explained to her mother about the dog-shaped bomb. Tearfully, Anya began apologizing for her recklessness. Seeing how distraught she was, Ye gently held her close. Just as Ye was about to call the police, Bond had another vision of the future. A clock tower emerged before Anya's eyes. The area around it was engulfed in smoke and war, and in an instant, turned into ruins. Anya saw the most devastating scene, her father's death, which triggered a conflict between two nations and threw the entire country into chaos. This was the near future, the vision Anya saw through Bond. But she couldn't reveal her psychic abilities. Desperate to change fate, she begged Bond for help. Meanwhile, intelligence reached the secret agency. Although they had captured several suspects, the mastermind behind the attack, Keith, was still at large. Hiding in the shadows, Keith observed everything. Running out of time, he quickly altered his plans. He was determined to carry out the assassination, no matter what. At the same time, Keith prepared the last remaining dog-shaped bomb. All that was left was to witness the miracle unfold. Having experienced the brutality of war firsthand, Lloyd was determined to stop the attack. Meanwhile, Anya, dashing through the city, finally arrived at the clock tower. But she was confused. She only remembered that the explosion happened when the clock chimed. Looking up at the clock, she asked an old man nearby and learned that there were only 30 minutes left until the next chime. However, Anya had no concept of how long 30 minutes was. Just then, Bond pushed Anya behind a wall. Peeking out, she saw Keith stepping out of a car. A military dog with him began sniffing around. It seemed to have detected Anya. As the two dogs locked eyes, an oblivious Keith pulled his dog back into the vehicle. Through her mind-reading ability, Anya realized he was behind the bomb in the vision. The moment the door opened, the bomb would explode. Time was running out, she had to think of a solution. Anya and Bond rushed into the clock tower and found the room where the bomb was planted. As she reached for the door, she remembered opening it would trigger the explosion. There seemed to be no way in, but fortunately, Anya was small enough to fit through a nearby window with Bond's help. Inside, the bomb was right in front of her. Carefully putting on gloves, she began disarming it. If she could just cut the right wire, her father would be saved. Following movie logic, she looked for a red or blue wire to cut, but this bomb was unusually designed. All the wires were black. Just as she felt lost, she noticed a bottle of ketchup on the table. Meanwhile, Lloyd and his team arrived downstairs. Based on intel, they quickly located the right room. As one agent looked inside, he saw what appeared to be blood, actually ketchup, spelling out a warning. Something like an eggplant pointed to the doorknob. Time was almost up. The agent rushed forward, ready to yank the door open. At that very moment, the clock began to chime. Anya's heart raced. The time of the predicted explosion had arrived, but nothing happened. Then, Bond had another vision. Her father was safe. Overjoyed, Anya wondered if she and Bond had really changed the future. It turned out that just as the agent was about to open the door, Lloyd stopped him. A bad feeling washed over him. Something wasn't right. He looked through the window and, sure enough, spotted the bomb reflected in the glass. He wasn't sure who had helped them, but the crisis was averted. Right then, security forces arrived. To avoid further complications, Lloyd and his team prepared to leave. Lloyd decided to head directly to protect the leadership. The scene shifted. The leader was about to depart for a meeting. Yuri, his brother-in-law, was in charge of security, but the leader insisted on driving himself and even dismissed all his guards. Unbeknownst to them, Keith was still watching from the shadows. The leader in the car was actually Lloyd in disguise. He had suspected Keith's intentions from the start. Soon, Keith realized something was wrong. They had been driving in circles. Another team confirmed the license plate of the target vehicle. Keith thought he was about to succeed, but he had fallen into a trap. As the two cars drove side by side, the calm old man swiftly fired his gun. Surprisingly, Keith dodged the bullet. Refusing to give up, he slammed his foot on the accelerator and rammed into the other car, then threw a bomb-like device. After the explosion, Keith descended into madness. But when he caught up to the target vehicle, it was empty. Turning around, he spotted Lloyd fleeing in the distance. Keith released his specially trained military dog, planning to detonate the bomb the moment the dog caught its target. With a swift flash, Lloyd leaped over a wall and escaped, his movements fluid and effortless. Although Keith lost sight of him, Lloyd found himself cornered in an alley, led by the well-trained military dog.